have a crazy story or subject like to see covered on the show? Any good at making one up? If so, leave a voicemail or send a text to 323-903-SAL-G. Seriously, it's a real number, and you can be featured on the next show. Welcome back to Just After My Bedtime, the only show that knows if you stayed home from school for a sick day in the 90s, you might have missed class, but you definitely got a full education in other people's bad decisions. I'm your host, Sal G, and tonight, well actually today, I'm a bit under the weather, so I'm here home on sick leave. But it occurred to me, on days like this back in the day, daytime talk shows used to feel like the internet. Well, before the internet was mainstream. Now when I'm home and watch daytime TV, it's different. I mean, you still got your soaps and cooking shows, but now it's a lot more doctors telling you your organs are disappointed in your daily habits and decisions. So as I was channel surfing, I said, man, I sure do miss the golden era of daytime talk shows, back when you could accidentally learn way too much about adult relationships by noon. I mean, you stay home with a cough and end your day with a completely different outlook on society, as well as a laundry list of reasons to remain a Toys R Us kid. So naturally, I had to investigate how this all transpired. Let's take a look. So evidently, the style of daytime TV we grew to love, and these red frames, started way before my time with the man himself, Phil Donahue. The man who didn't just host the show. He quite literally invented the format. Before him, TV was one directional. Then Donahue said, nah, let's involve the people. This was the first time daytime TV said, what if the audience had main character energy? I mean, he tackled real issues, war, feminism, civil rights, and topics like that made people real uncomfortable back then. And that really mattered, because daytime TV started as a place to talk through society, not run from it, not monetize it, actually talk. Donahue would walk into the crowd like, okay, who wants to discuss systematic inequality? Mind you, this is a time where half the audience is just there like, so we aren't spinning the wheel? No, have a seat. This was civilized TV. People debated. They used full sentences. Nobody flipped a chair unless it was ergonomically necessary. Because without Phil Donahue, none of this exists. He built the house. Everybody else just started throwing furniture in it. Then came the queen, the blueprint, the reason everybody's aunt suddenly had emotional breakthroughs at 2 p.m. Miss Oprah Winfrey. Oprah didn't just host the show. She monetized healing without a pulpit. You didn't just watch Oprah. You processed trauma with Oprah. She took the Donahue structure and the logo color palette, added empathy, storytelling, and just enough tears to hydrate the entire country, all before happy hour. She changed daytime from discussion to connection. She also made vulnerability mainstream. And who could forget, she gave Tom Cruise a perfectly good leather couch to say the hell with. Long before we knew Rick James did it. Before Oprah, people had their struggles. After Oprah, people was like, I'm healing, and I like a studio audience for it. She made daytime TV aspirational. Also, she gave away cars like she was clearing out a Jay Leno storage unit.
You get a car! You get a car!
Meanwhile, I'm sitting at home like, I can't even get a ride to school. But here's the turning point, no pun intended. Oprah proved emotion gets ratings. And TV executive said, okay, but what if we remove the growth but keep the emotion? Enter Sally Jessy Raphael. She was the bridge. She took serious topics and added just enough spice to make you lean forward like, okay, this is about to get uncomfortable. She normalized regular people telling real stories on TV. Not celebrities, not experts, just people with situations. Sally made it okay to say, today's topic is messy, but we're gonna handle it respectfully. Now, that respect didn't last long, but she tried. In these red glasses, these wasn't fashion. These was accountability lenses. You couldn't lie to Sally. She saw straight through you. Sally walked, so chaos could let her run full speed into a folding chair. Which lands us here, the Olympics of poor decisions. This is where Jerry Springer ended the chat. I mean, this is where the genre said, we did healing to no avail. It's now time to try chaos. And Jerry didn't have guests. He had situations. He didn't evolve the format. He flipped it. This was the birth of tabloid TV. Conflict became the product, and embarrassment became the entertainment. Also, Jerry didn't have segments. He had incidents, with episode titles like, I married my cousin's ex who's also my boss and a ghost. And you believed it. Okay. While we're here, let's be honest. Jerry Springer walked so reality TV could run, trip, and still get renewed for 8 seasons. And yes, his security guard Steve got so popular, he even got his own show. Imagine being so good at breaking up fights, you get promoted to hosting the fights. That's what I call career growth. Sidebar, shout out to my homie Gabe Griggs, who's also part of that evolution. I mean, but that's what I call job security, pun intended. But Springer proved something dangerous. The goalpost went from being solution-oriented to being spectacle-driven. And then came the most suspenseful sentence in television history.
You are not
It was the let's get ready to rumble of daytime TV. Maury took chaos and added science. He turned paternity testing into appointment television. Before Maury, people argued. After Maury, lives changed in real time. That envelope, that wasn't paper. That was a plot twist delivery. Maury had an entire generation thinking DNA tests came with theme music. He had men celebrating like they just won the Super Bowl. Running backstage, they was doing backflips. Sir, you're still unemployed. Sit down. And those lie detector tests? That machine caused more breakups than group chats. And with that, Maury had created a formula. Build tension, reveal truth, and capture reactions. That's reality TV. That's YouTube. That's TikTok. Maury wasn't just a show. He was a blueprint in his own right. And while we here, Though Montel still got his hoop earring in, Montel Williams wasn't just a goatee and a hoop earring, nor was he just the trivia answers to what daytime host dated a former vice president. He was way more than that. He kept one foot in reality and the other foot in structure. He proved you could talk about serious issues without the whole set turning into WWE SmackDown. Montel was like, we can be emotional, but nobody's jumping off no couches today. And you definitely can't forget about Ricky Lake, who brought the youth into the genre. She made daytime TV feel like it belonged to younger voices. Her audience didn't warm up. Those audiences arrived preheated. Which brings us to the stash, even though he started way before all of them. Or as you may remember, Geraldo Rivera, who actually started his show in a 2-hour spectacle, supposedly uncovering the mystery of Al Capone's vault, which turned out to only contain dirt and empty bottles. But he somehow used that attention to turn it into his own talk show. He came in hot too, and said, I wonder what could go wrong if I put white supremacists and black activists on the stage together. And the answer was, everything could go wrong. And it did go wrong. And things escalated quick, Jack. And your boy Geraldo ended up with a bloody face and a broken nose. That wasn't just a segment. That was a workplace hazard. And HR couldn't even file a report. They'd ask, so what happened? And all he could say was, I don't know, I made a bad decision. So in turn, by the mid-90s, daytime talk had became competition. And everybody was trying to outdo each other. Bigger reveals, bigger fights, bigger moments. And for every popular show, we had a couple deep cuts too. Only the real fan though, like the Jenny Jones show, with surprises that, well, a little too real to put it lightly. And then you had the Richard Bay show, which was basically just chaos in a suit. And who could forget or forgive or forget? With Mother Love, with forgiveness apparently depended on the ratings. Moving on. And we can't talk about daytime without mentioning Wendy Williams. She was the bridge between pure classic daytime chaos and today's modern gossip culture. Now, Wendy didn't throw chairs. She threw opinions. She would kick things off by asking, how you doing? Then immediately dictate how they'd be doing after watching the show. Pretty much anybody mentioned felt like the Statue of Liberty in that one episode. But the premise was essentially, what if we took everybody's business and made it our business before they were ready? Hot Topics wasn't a segment. It was a warning. She didn't need chaos on stage. She was the chaos in a chair. Wendy proved you didn't need guests to be messy. All you needed was timing and the confidence to say it. You see, Jerry had fights and Maury had DNA. But you see, Wendy had receipts and no fear consequences. And speaking of consequences, or lack thereof, and before we found out what he was really up to, we got the doctors. Well, more specifically, Dr. Bill. No chairs thrown, no security tackles, just let's unpack that and eventually convince everyone you need help, but not just any help, my people's help. Long story, but he might have been the worst if you ask me. So what ended up happening overall was networks realized lawsuits are expensive. So they said, what if instead of chaos, we gave them licensed advice? Same problems, but now we call them cases. Some chaos, but it's just with a bookshelf behind it. And that's how we got the shift. From fights to feelings, from secrets to self-help, from Jerry to journals. And yes, Ellen ruled daytime for years. And I'm not one to gossip, so you ain't heard this from me. But I'm just saying, you could tell something was off. Even her dancing looked like HR approved it. Now we know nobody was that clean cut and safe. And we all know that when those cameras cut off, even backstage had a dark side, if not the darkest. And here's something people forget. Every celebrity with a buzz in the last 20 years ended up with a daytime show at some point. From comedians to rappers to even today with the panel shows, which appears to be the format of choice for the day. But back then, it became the new late night. It was just hosted during the day. I mean, it was a time that you ain't made it until somebody hands you a couch and says, go talk to people at 2 p.m. Late night had jokes, but daytime had feelings. And occasionally, a surprise sibling. So why did it all end? Simple. The internet got messier than TV. Reality TV took the formula and ran with it. And audiences not only changed, but also stopped believing everything they saw. So in turn, why watch Jerry Springer when your timeline already gives you 3 fights, 2 breakups, and a conspiracy theory before lunch? But here's the truth. We didn't just watch those shows for chaos. We watched because when you were home, actually sick, or taking what we now know as a mental health day, these shows felt like company. They were loud, messy, ridiculous, but they were alive. And deep down, we all wanted to be one of those bad kids on stage. Not because they were right, but because for one moment, they were seen. They were heard. And they got a full studio audience reacting to their nonsense. And honestly, back then at least the mess we watched was on TV. But now it feels like it's just the everyday life we live in. And before you touch that dial, man, y'all like, comment, and share. Y'all take care. Peace.